Hi, hello everybody. So this is the video dealing with section 5.4, where we're going to cover these special formulas, product to sum and sum to product formulas. So I've divided this section into two parts. The first part is the product to sum formulas. So these formulas, where we go over the sine and cosine functions as a product, and we convert them, as you can see here, from uh, the product format, either sine times sine, cosine times cosine, sine times cosine, and or cosine times sine of some angle, alpha and beta. And we convert the product form, right? On the left side, I have the product form, and we convert them to an expression that involves sum or subtraction. Okay. Now, the main reason this seems kind of odd to some because it seems like I'm getting something on the left side that is simpler, and then I make it into something more complicated. But this is exactly not the case, right? So the main reasons that we use these formulas is because they're going to simplify some expression that is going to make easier to evaluate. So either to simplify trigonometric expressions, to solve some trigonometric equation, or to evaluate trigonometric functions. And if you take, after this course, if you have to take calculus, then you're going to see that the expression on this side, it will make it a lot easier to evaluate integrals. So these are expressions that with the product, it's almost impossible to work with, but with um, product to sum formula, the expression in sum or subtraction format, it makes it a lot easier to evaluate. So we go over them here so that you can see exactly what to do. The procedure itself is extremely simple, and the applications, either for now or for later in calculus course, is going to be obvious. Now, let me just mention one thing since we're dealing with product now, to clarify something that maybe to some may be not obvious. Now, you know from algebra, if I multiply x times x, I get x squared. And so that's not new to you. Now, what happens when I multiply sine x times sine x or cosine times a cosine? Okay, so when I multiply sine x times sine x, I do not get sine x squared. So the angle, right? These are the angles. They do not get multiplied. So here you're multiplying the function. So sine x times sine x is sine x squared. And this is the notation that we use to represent the product of the sine. It's the function sine with the square associated with the function, not the angle. Okay, so sine x times sine x is sine square x, which is not this, not sine x squared. And here's an example. Let's imagine for now the x is 30 degrees. So sine x, sine 30 degrees times sine 30 degrees. We know that 30 degrees is one of the angles that we should know. So sine 30 is 1/2. So 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. Now, sine square 30 is sine 30 times sine 30, which is 1/4. It's not sine 30 square, which is 900, right? If you do this on the calculator, uh, to find sine 900, you're going to find that this answer is 0. Now, why is that 0? I'll show you in the calculator in a second. Here is the y-axis, right? Here's 180 degrees, right? So 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180. If I go 5 laps from 180, okay, so 8 times 5, 40. 5 times 1, 5 plus 900. So I end up right here at 900 degrees. Now the sine right here is 0. I hope you can see that from the unit circle. If you don't, we can always do it on the calculator. All right? You can always do it on the calculator. We use the other calculator. 900. Well, just first, let's do check to see if this thing works. 30 sine, here's 0.5. And 900 sine 0. Okay? So very important that you understand that sine x times sine x is sine x square, and that is not the same as sine x squared. So we don't multiply the angle, we multiply the function. Okay? So that's important. So let's take a look and see a couple of examples. Very, very easy. It's just really to be able to apply the formulas. You don't have to memorize the formulas. I'll give them to you. All right, so let's see. And then remember that the main reason is to simplify expressions, solve equations, evaluate trig functions, which in product form would be a lot harder to do. Okay, so how about sine 8x, sine 3x? So we have to look for the formula that has two signs, right? And which one is it? Oh, obviously it's the first one, the one that has two signs, which means that the 8x is my angle alpha and the 3x is my angle beta. And then all I have to do is to apply this formula right here. So this would be 1/2, okay, cosine alpha minus beta, cosine 8x minus 3x, this is 5x, minus cosine of the sum. So 8x plus 3x, 11x. Right? And then if you want, you could do something like this. Cosine. This is the other thing. I'm going to talk to you about it immediately after I finish this. This is cosine 5x over 2 minus cosine 11x over 2. Now, this is the final answer, as you see. Okay? Now, notice, imagine, for example, if I had something like this, right? 1/2 cosine 4x. Okay, this is not the same as cosine 4x over 2, which is cosine 2x. This number does not divide the angle. It divides the whole cosine, right? Look the way I wrote it here. So the fraction in here divides the whole cosine expression, not the angle for x. So make sure that you understand this. It's a common mistake. So 1/2 times cosine 4x would be cosine 4x, all of it, over 2. Not this, okay? Not this. All right, so make sure that you understand that. Okay, so if this is a problem on any assignment that you have, all that you have to do is this line and you're done, okay? And as I said, it doesn't seem to have any real benefit because, you began with this and you ended up with something that seems more complicated. But in reality, for the purposes of simplification, evaluation, or integration, when you take calculus, this expression is going to be a lot easier. Okay, let's take a look at the second one. Let's do one with sine and cosine. All right, so first we identify which formula we need to use. So sine and cosine is this one right here. And 4x will be my alpha, and x will be my beta. Okay, so I go apply the formula. 1/2 sine of the sum. So sine of 4x plus x, and plus sine of the difference. So 4x minus x, 3x. And then again, if you want, you can do 5x over 2, 3x over 2. Okay? And that would be the answer. Now, I want to show you something that is important that may happen depending on what kind of expression you have over here. Sine 4x times cosine x could have been written cosine x times sine 4x. And then you would use the other formula, right? You would use the cosine times sine, which now alpha is the first angle x, beta is the second angle 4x. And I'm going to leave this here because I'm going to show you that sometimes this happens. You just have to be aware and how to deal with the value of sine and cosine on different quadrants. Okay, so I'm going to use now, simplify this expression, use the product to sum formula, using the last one right here. And I am going to end up with the same answer after I do something. Okay? All right, so let's see. So I am going to write this over here. So 1/2, okay, sine of the sum. So x plus 4x. Okay, so this is sine 5x minus, right? Sine of the difference, alpha minus beta. This is my alpha here, alpha, and this is beta. So this is x minus 4x minus 3x. Now, we cannot leave a minus inside of the angle. So I have to handle this. Okay? Now, how do we do that? So I have to know this is the sine x. All right? So here is a positive angle x. Don't need to know what it is. I just need to know that this is positive, right? Because this blue line is the value of my sine of this angle x. If I'm on the negative side, right, here is the negative angle. The negative angle, I am here. This is the angle. This is the negative angle. Well, the negative angle has this sign, which is negative, right? Because it's below the axis. So then I know that sine of negative x is equal to minus sine of x. So see if this makes sense. Whatever angle, you can try this on the calculator. If you say sine of 30 degrees, I know this is half. If I say sine of minus 30 degrees, I know this is minus half, and you can do this on the calculator. So this is correct. So if we have an angle that has a negative sign attached to it, we have to simplify it so that the angle becomes positive. And we do it this way for the sine. So in here, I'm going to have to simplify this expression. So 1/2 sine 5x minus, and the sine of minus 3x is actually equal to minus sine of 3x. So this is minus sine of 3x. And now the minus and a minus is a plus. And as you can see, the exact same answer, right? This is equal to that. Okay, so it doesn't really matter when you have, for example, the situation where you have either sine times cosine or cosine times sine, the answer is the same. So you can use whichever one helps you do the job a little bit better. Okay, so these are product to sum formulas, and they are primarily used to simplify expressions, solve equations, evaluate trigonometric functions, and in more advanced calculus problems to simplify the integration. Okay, so in the next video, we'll do the sum to product formulas to do the reverse.